Inside the ninth episode of Outsourcing Live, I interview the Chief Operating Officer of a social networking company, and we find out how he manages an outsourced team to create a multi-million dollar project. In the quick tip today, there is a cool tool that allows you to create amazing and interactive presentations online that will keep your audience engaged. Time to roll!
Welcome to the Outsourcing Live podcast, where you will learn to build a virtual team to run your business. And now, your host, Tyrone Shum.
Hi there, it's Tyrone Shum from Outsourcing Live, and welcome to another podcast here. Today, I've got a longtime friend who I've kept in contact with, and he's kept in contact with me as well. Originally from the UK, moved over to Brisbane, and has moved back over to the Europe now, which I'll share with you very shortly where he is. But he was originally the first person who interviewed me on a podcast on his blog previously for the Mass Outsource Mastermind course, going back about a couple of years now, and since I launched it. And this was the first person who also gave me a testimonial. So I wanted to introduce you to David. And David's been in contact with me about a really interesting project that I wanted to share with you. So welcome to the call, David.
Hey Tyrone, how are you? Good?
Good. David, for the people who don't know you, maybe what we should do is start off with the story on your background, because this interesting project that you've been talking with me or sharing with me over the last probably about 15-20 minutes is quite amazing. So I'll let you do the talking, and you can let people know what you do and what this project's all about.
Well, my background was in corporate finance, essentially. And of course, I got involved in doing stuff on the web a little while ago, and obviously met yourself as well, and got more and more interested in the social technology side of things. And the opportunity came to work with a group of fellas 4 or 5 years ago that were working on authentication technologies, fingerprint technologies, to do with social networking. They kind of had the idea that if you could have a social network where everybody was who they said they were, then that would be a great idea. But unfortunately, a chap called Zuckerberg, I don't know whether you've heard of him, but he did he kind of beat us to the punch with having a .edu address, which was a far simpler idea than shipping fingerprint readers. But the technology behind that and the ideas that sprung from that gave us the momentum to try and develop a site that was a little bit more private, a little bit safer for younger people, especially when we started off. And that sort of started the whole ball rolling for a site that we call the Koini Club. It's Koini club.com. And when we were initially developing it, or initially launching it, which was in July last year as a sort of beta situation, we realized that if we were going to go out and try and compete with everybody else to advertise the site, it was going to cost us an awful lot of money and probably be completely ineffectual. So we wanted to try and come up with something different to be able to market the site. And it just so happened at the time I was looking at something Jeremy Shoemaker had brought out of Shoe Money fame, and he'd I think he'd messed about with an emailing system where if somebody referred somebody to your email list, if they referred 3 people to your email list, then you got a free bit of technology, or a free ebook, or whatever you were setting that up for.
Yep.
And so we kind of thought about that system as a marketing tool, not as a central core to the site, but as a marketing tool. And we built one. We built it, and it was just we launched it. We weren't really, the site was not even in beta. It was really alpha. We didn't have any of the stuff that we wanted on there. We kind of just launched it and see what would happen. And we were getting 3,000 or 4,000 people a day signing up for the site.
Which is absolutely amazing. It kind of goes to show how it's possible, even in just an alpha stage, to do that. Actually, before we talk a little bit more about that, the reason why I got you on a call, I should have mentioned this right at the beginning of the podcast, is because you've outsourced a lot of this here. Currently, you're in Spain, and I mentioned as you were talking before in the little introduction that you had moved back from Australia to Spain, and you're now currently living in Europe. There was one reason why you moved back there, and you had your outsourced team there. So I think I just wanted to sort of let everyone know what exactly that was, because as you know, my podcast and my channel talks all about outsourcing, and you've got a very interesting story here to be able to share with them.
Yeah, well, it's the unbelievable situation on the internet at the moment, and I think you're right at the core of it there, with explaining to people, Tyrone, how they can run a business that is, they don't have to have an office somewhere and 50 people working for them, and this is something that you're right at the sharp end of that particular outsourcing movement, which when we finish the call, I need to pick your brains, but of course,
Sure.
For us, we were a virtual business. I mean, my business partners are up in Canada, are down in Florida. I was over in Brisbane, and our developers were here in southern Spain. And so, we outsource. We outsource a lot. And this whole project has been. I mean, all our design work, for example, is outsourced between the UK and Canada. And so there isn't even now there isn't a physical office where we all are. There will be soon, just by the nature of how the thing is growing. But even now we're all very fragmented and use outsourcing for quite a lot of what we do on the site. And certainly to have the whole thing built was an initial outsourcing situation. And now I moved here because we're bringing all the developers in house.
Yeah, that's really amazing. So coming back then, let's talk a little bit more about this project and what it does, and just share with them. I know you mentioned that when you first started as an alpha base and you're getting at least 3,000 people signing up per day, which is astounding. I mean, most people don't even get 3,000 per month, or even after 6 months when they first launch. How did this project come about, and also how's it developed into what it is right now?
Well, it like I say, it came out of the situation where we were looking at social networks many years ago, and we were, to be honest, we were all kind of getting a bit depressed about where we thought it was going. You hear these stories about bad things that happen with people that had met on social networks and all that sort of stuff. And so we wanted to try and do something about that, even if it was in our own little small way. And that's how we came about using all the authentication side of things. And so it grew from there. And then as social technology, as the Foursquares and the Facebooks and the MySpaces and all those sort of sites became bigger, your mind gets opened up to what you can do with social technology, and obviously that's where it's all going. As every business is becoming more social, and so what we wanted to do was take the concept of our social network and see where we could go with that. And we really did. I'd like to think that we all sat down and we were all extremely clever, and we came up with this. We came up with this concept of competitions, but we didn't. We kind of stumbled over it, as I've said, and but as we realized the power of it. I mean, bearing in mind our site, to be quite honest, when we launched it in July last year, was basic and not particularly good, very slow. We never, in our wildest dreams, thought that it was going to go so quickly. And I mean, literally within 3 or 4 months, we had, close to 100,000 people on the site. And at that stage, we thought, wait a minute, we might be onto something here. And so we started, even then, we started and we realized we had to completely rebuild the site. And so as much as we've kept it running, we haven't done any we spent nothing on advertising. The only thing that we spent money on is competitions. We've given away 5 iPads and phones and 2 or 3 more trips to Paris and Toronto and those kind of places. So
basically, no advertising, but running competitions is how you've attracted people. Is that what you're saying to me? Is that's basically
correct?
The whole business model behind is running all these competitions, giving away all these free things, and for people to enter, and that's how you built up like 3,000 people per month.
Yeah, well,
plus.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, what the thing that did it really was that we created this referral base. So
Mm.
there's two things that we can there's two things that we focused on. One was getting our name out there, and so we and what the two problems we had was one was getting our name out there, one was how to attract people to the site without spending a whole heap of money on advertising.
Mm.
And so the two elements of the competitions we first came up with was one was a video competition and one is a referral competition. So if our system is set up for a particular competition that is video, then people can basically the way they do it is they record a video, they upload it to YouTube, and then they can embed it on our site, simple one-click embed system, and then other members can vote on it, we can vote on it, we can make it a winner's video or what have you. But what you end up with is a lot of video. I mean, I think we've got over 1,000 videos on YouTube now that have got our link in it and are talking about how great we are, or or kids doing
Competition.
yeah, yeah, and people doing crazy things, and there are some unbelievably talented people that do some incredible videos on YouTube, and they're entering those for the competitions, and we've given away iPads and all sorts of stuff to people that have done that.
So
But
wait,
then on,
before actually going on, I'm actually curious because for me, I'm still sitting here just going, okay, how has this been possible? You've got to start somewhere, firstly, to be able to get the initial traction. So let's say, for example, I was just an initial beginner and you had no people on your site, your social networking site, and I came in and I thought, all right, let's run a competition to find the best dancing move online. I mean, that's something really simple, but
yeah,
I'll go and create a video. I'll start one myself and I'll show some weird, cool dancing move, just like Dancing with the Stars or something like that.
I'm sure you'd be awesome, Tara.
Or think, so you think you can dance. Then I'll post that video up onto your social site. So what happens from there? Where do you get the people to see this? Are you saying that you post it on YouTube and hopefully you'll get those people on YouTube?
Well, no, what we initially did was come up with the idea for the competition first.
Okay.
So what we did was we looked at what was going on, and the great thing about something like this also is that, remember, you can stay current. So whatever is awesome at the time, whether it's the latest mobile phone, whether it's the latest iPad, you can plug into that buzz on the internet, and if like you as an internet marketer will know that if you're doing a post that is more current, you're more likely to get hits on it. So you can plug in a competition that's more current. And at that time, one of the things that we realized was that one of the things that the people that work the hardest on the net to a certain extent are young people, as teenagers. They're on Twitter all the time, and we thought if we can hit that market initially and give them something that they want, they'll go nuts promoting it.
Yeah.
And so we thought, well, let's try that, and we came up with a competition for 3 winners VIP to Toronto to see Mr. Justin Bieber.
Okay.
And we literally used some of the techniques that I've learned from looking at Yarrow, for example, and reading your blog and several other top internet marketers. In that I commented on a few blogs. I had some of our guys posting on a few forums, but it wasn't anything, on a monumental scale. It was probably 4 or 5 days worth of posting on Twitter and making a few comments here and there, and it suddenly got traction. A couple of big people with big Twitter accounts started tweeting about it, and it just went nuts. And literally every 3 or 4 seconds there was a tweet with our link in it, because on the referral side, when they join the competition, that it generates essentially its own affiliate link, as you would call it. We call it a unique link.
Yeah.
And so they can just spread that link, and they get a point for each person that joins up to the site. And we were saying the one with the most points wins. Now it's a little different in that they get some of our internal, they still get a point, but they get some of our internal credits as well. So this competition system works a little bit different, which I can explain if you're interested a little later.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
That's how it started, was essentially that. And that's the great thing. If you can put a competition up that is
spread worthy,
that people are interested in, it snowballs and it gets its own life,
That's very, very interesting. And amongst all that, you mentioned that you had people helping you because obviously you can't do all this yourself. You had your team backing behind you in Spain, is that correct? And also,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
What were some of the things that they did for you to be able to get it up to that speed? Because you've only got so many hours in a day, you can't sit there and comment at all these things yourself and also create and design and manage the site at the same time, could you? I mean, you could, but you'd probably
No. Well, I think my technological capabilities are limited to a roundabout commenting on blogs. So to do something like, I mean, we've got a tremendous team. Our chief technology guy, Jorge. Sarajevo is awesome. I mean, if I think one of the things that I've read on your information about outsourcing is how you one of the important things that you talk about is how to interact with whoever is your virtual assistant, and the whole process of interviewing them correctly and finding somebody that you can work with, or and that's extremely important, because it's all very well having having a virtual assistant, but if you have to do the thinking for them, it's pretty much little point in doing it. You need somebody who has their own that can make their own mind up and do and develop in their own way. And certainly that's how our relationship developed, is that I would come up with a lot of the conceptual stuff and the technology that I'd like to be in the site and the functionality I'd like to be in the site, but I had absolutely no idea whether it could be done or not. And then Jorge would take that and then turn it into actual real world technology on the site, and continues to amaze me in this day, because I ask for ridiculous things. And I think it's become a bit of a challenge. I'm asking for more ridiculous things every day, and he just keeps coming back and saying, well, yes, I can do that, and yes, I can do this. And so I think that's very important, that if you are outsourcing, you have that relationship where the person that you're dealing with on an outsourced basis has their own their own authority to come up with their own ideas, but also that you have that kind of relationship where they fill a gap, that it's not just automation, if you know what I mean. It's something that they can, they have some kind of autonomy of their own to help you run your business.
Definitely. And it's amazing, once you do find that right person, it does make a huge difference, because you give them the responsibility, they take accountability of what they do, and let them think, and they usually come back with something that's even better than what you expected. So that's my experience. Okay, well, let's sort of take it on. This next thing is that you mentioned to me as well that you've moved over to Spain for the reason so that you could be in contact with developers, because we're talking a little bit about this before the podcast, saying that you had been in Brisbane, but the time zone differences were sort of not the best for you, because you're staying up or starting at like 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. to be able to communicate with somebody during their time. So what has your experience been so far now coming to Spain to be able to work directly with your outsourced team? Because you are literally next to them, but at the same time, they're still doing the work, which still considers this as being outsourcing.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, Brisbane was. I woke up every morning to look over the canals at Sanctuary Cove, which was awesome. So it kind of broke my heart to come back. But it is, there is a certain, when you are outsourcing, you still have to be able to speak with people, and Australia was just a bad time zone for where we were around the world, and we have a phone call each day. That was at, I think I was telling you earlier, was at, became because of the time zone, was 11 o'clock at night. And sometimes we may be speaking till 1 o'clock in the morning. And then I was up again at 6 o'clock in the morning to try and catch my colleagues over in Canada and America. And so it was a difficult situation. The difference now is, it's funny because the developers are, I work from my office at home here in Spain, and the developers are literally 10 minutes down the road, but we still have that phone call on Skype each day. And we still do it in the same way that we did, albeit at a more reasonable hour now. Yes. The difference is being able to, if we had a complex problem that, that or something I was trying to get across to them that was quite complex. When I was in Australia, I would spend, a couple of hours doing screenshots and arrows and text on the screen, and this is what I want it like, and mock-ups. Whereas now I can just grab my laptop, get in the car, shoot down the road 10 minutes, and show him on the screen, and we can work it out between us. So what maybe would take a day to do can now be done in a couple of hours.
Which is
so that's the difference.
Yeah, that really makes a huge difference. I mean, the speed in which you can get things across, because you can't obviously keep up to pace with what's going on in the market, particularly for your site. If it's growing at a certain rate, you're going to have to try and move faster. Otherwise, you may
that's why I needed to come over, because this, the new site, the one that you've seen, is so different from the other. It's a complete rebuild, and we are launching that probably in the next week to 10 days. And for that launch and the stuff that we're doing up to that launch, I couldn't have been that far away and had that, and has done it this quickly. And of course we don't know what's going to happen on the launch. I mean, the prize that we've got up is pretty awesome in my opinion. You can't buy it. We got the prize by making a donation to a charity, and so we think it's going to take off.
Can I ask you?
But we don't know.
Can I ask you what this prize is? Maybe.
Oh yes. Okay. Yeah. It's we've secured 2 tickets to the MTV Europe Music Awards in Belfast on November the 6th, and it includes it's VIP, so you'll go as if you were a rock star, and it's backstage passes. Wow. And so all the all the famous stars and what have you, whoever wins it will be rubbing shoulders with them, and we'll fly them. And it's open to everybody all over the world. We'll fly them from wherever they are to Belfast, put them up for 3 nights, fly them back home, and treat them good. Wow. And we've flown people from Australia. In fact, one of the first winners was from Sydney, and she went to Toronto. We've had them from America, from the UK, from Serbia. Believe it or not, one of our winners won a trip to Paris. 2 people from Serbia. Ooh.
Some really nice prizes. I mean, they're like, wow. I'd be keen to actually get involved. Actually, now you just talk
me
about,
too. I haven't been on any of these.
Now that you talk about it and raise it, I'm like, I'd love to actually, just for the flight alone. I don't mind not going to MTV Awards, but the flight alone there, I'd be more than happy to just take that on board if it's a nice flight over to Belfast. Never ever been there, so it's pretty cool. But like for people like me and you, who are interested in entering a competition like this, how do they do it though? I'm actually now curious, so you may as well get you to run through the process and share how this works in your system.
Well, it's simply signing up to the site, and within the system you could. We have a competition section. One of the things that, if I can just explain how that part works, we have public pages. This is one of the things that we've created after the initial on the new build, is that anybody can come on our site now and create a competition. I say anybody. There is a verification process which goes back to what we did in the early days, but you can come onto the site, like I've set you up that page that you looked at, your individual page, and you can run a competition. So you could run a competition for for somebody to win a place on one of your courses, for example. What we have, we use the same page technology as everybody else. We have our own page. So what happens is you'll come to the site. If maybe you've come from a referral link from somebody that's been talking about it on Twitter or Facebook or whatever. And you'll come to the site, you'll sign up. It's a very quick sign up process. On the new site, we've also got Facebook Connect and Twitter Connect, so you can sign up through your Facebook account. So it's a very simple process to come through on Facebook, for example. And then you go on to the competition section. There'll be a whole list of competitions that you can join. You click onto that, read all about the competition, and then there's a simple join button. So you join that competition, and you're presented with the terms of that particular competition. So, and of course, page owners are able to modify their own terms. We have our standard terms that are there, but you click on that, you agree to that, and then you're in the competition. If it's a video competition, you'll see the where you can submit your video on the side of the screen. You can have a look at competition videos that have already been put in to see how other people are what they're putting together for the competition. If it's a referral competition, you'll be able to see the points that you'll get. You'll have your referral link that you can just cut and paste. You can tweet it directly from that competition page, or share it on Facebook directly from that competition page. And as people sign up to the site through your link, that you'll start to see your referral points go up. And on the new site, of course, you'll also get rewarded our internal currency, which is credits, for introducing people to the site also.
So basically, the enticement for people to refer is to get points to potentially use it for other things, but also too, when you log into the site and you go through that process, you can also enter the competitions. So it's a two-way stream.
Yeah, and I'm pretty excited about how we're developing the credit system. I mean, for example, we also have rewards for if you log on each day, you'd get 10 credits per day, for example, for logging on. And so there's an incentive there to come to the site. But I'm very excited about the way that we're going to be doing the competitions, because we're creating a ticketing system. Which is essentially based on credits, and what it does is it gives everybody a chance to win some of the prizes, not just somebody who's got a big Twitter account, for example, which is what we've found is some of the problems that we've had in the past with the referral system. So what we're doing in the future, and what will be on the site fairly shortly, is a ticketing system. So, for example, we might charge 10 credits per ticket for the MTV competition, for example, meaning you could get 1 credit per, 1 ticket per day for logging in. Or if you win the Tyrone Shum competition, who's putting up 1,000 credits for his particular competition, then you're encouraged now to enter our public page owners competitions, because you want to get credits to win the MTV competitions, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
So if you have 1,000 credits, then you can go and buy 100 tickets. And so the more credits that you are earning throughout the site by entering public page owners competitions, brands, companies, causes competitions, or you can buy them, or you can log on each day. There are various different competitions that we run, sometimes off the hoof, just just a weekly competition, or just a competition for 24 hours, for example. So those people that are interacting on the site and are getting credits from doing that will be able to buy more tickets. So if in the end there's 1 million tickets issued and you have 100,000 of them because you've created all the you've been doing a lot of work on the site and you've got a lot of credits, then of course you'd have a 1 in 10 chance. But what is great about it is that even up until the final day, someone that's joined still has a chance, because you're given 100 credits to join the site. So filling in a profile and filling in and putting your profile picture up will get you 100 credits. And so even the last person to join the competition on the very last day still has a small chance of winning, because it's all done as a draw right at the very end. We press a button, our system goes off and picks a random ticket out of all the tickets that have been bought, and that person wins.
So it's basically a probability chance, not the highest person who has the most tickets then to
correct,
the competition, which this is very much the same with most competitions that are run online anyway, or run even just in the public, in the offline world as well. Which is really cool.
The problem is because you get we have found that some of the people that have won our competitions have just had very big Twitter accounts, and as much as it increases your odds of winning, the probability of winning, because you've got more credits, it doesn't get to the situation where people just give up because they don't think they're going to win.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really, really amazing system and very, very interesting. I'm also curious as well. We've talked a little bit about how the business model works, how you outsourced it. I'm curious now, it's up to you whether or not you want to share, because there is probably a little bit of privacy information, and also your business partners as well. But how does this particular model make you money, and how much like you've obviously invested quite a number of years and also a lot of resources and time and effort into it. How do you recoup something like this? Because it's not a small project to start off with.
Yeah, it has cost us a few $1 million to get us to this stage. Admittedly, some of that was developing the authentication systems, but we're pretty confident that we have a system as far as the competitions are concerned, where it is. For example, I'll give you an example. We're talking to a fairly large brand, which I can't name at the moment. They're very keen to have a competitions page on our site and run a number of competitions through that particular site, through that particular page, because of the way that they, as much as some of these big brands could go out and build their own competition pages,
they don't have the time, resources to.
They don't have the time. They just can't be bothered. Yeah. It's not that. Well, that's probably the wrong thing to say. But what you've said there is that it's something you can see it when you look online. When you see an old competition from even a very well-known brand, we'll go to a 404 page error, which really is sloppy. Yes. And this is one of the things that we've talked about to the brands that we've been speaking to. And this is a way to have the competition, and it's not just something like, I know Facebook do it, but it's not just a Facebook like my page and that's fantastic. This is more of an interaction. It's allowing you to create some kind of buzz with your brand and do something that is more interesting to a user, in my opinion. I mean, I'm more likely to go and I'm more likely to go and have a conversation and do what a brand wants me to do if they're offering me a chance to win an iPad or an iPhone. But there are those online where I can just put in an email address and there is no work on my part, and I'm just hoping for a draw. And I don't think we talked about this earlier. Yeah. I think the interaction on that is very small. And so what we wanted to be able to do was give the brands a chance to go, hey, listen, we can put some competitions together, some really cool stuff, if you do a bit of work for us. And I think our members actually quite enjoy it. The feedback that we get is they enjoy it. I mean, our tagline is connecting people. I can't even remember now. I'm looking at it on the site and I'm thinking, I always get confused about it, but it's connecting you with people who are like you. And what we mean by that is that we're connecting people around subjects they're interested in. I mean, I love Formula One, so I'm going to, if we have a Formula One competition, which we certainly will be, if I have anything to do with it, and I'll be the meet and greet guy at the Monaco Grand Prix. I'm more likely to enter that competition because I love Formula One. But also the other people that are in that competition. For example, when you go to your competition page, it will say these are the people in this. These are the other people in this competition, and so so you're more likely to click on that person, have a look at their profile, and go, well, that person sounds, so they're obviously in the Formula One. We've interacted a little bit on the whiteboard on the competitions page, and they might be a person I'd like to get to know. And so that's creating another connection, and we've had that connection created around something we enjoy doing, which is Formula One, and we enjoy talking about. I mean, not all my friends, for example, on my Facebook account enjoy Formula One. In fact, 70% of them think it's the most boring thing in the world, but they're still my friends.
They're still your friends. Yeah.
But if I'm meeting other people that are interested in my topic, then obviously we have something in common straight away. So it's an interesting way of connecting as well as competing for something.
You've actually raised up a very good point here, because I don't really hop onto Facebook very much, even though I've got a Facebook account and I've got a Facebook page and stuff. And I'm only probably in the last week starting to explore to see how this works out best for my business. And I'm just going to raise up this interesting fact that you've been talking about. I've seen people with thousands and hundreds of thousands of people liking their Facebook fan page or Facebook page. And yes, they hop on there to interact and talk to each other and sort of like a little community and stuff. And I still don't get my head around it, because the only way to really get that kind of interaction is for people to start up and talk there. But what's the incentive of doing that if you don't have anyone there or if there's no kind of competition or prize or anything to do that, like why do people go onto these pages to leave a comment or talk to each other? Or unless the person who's actually behind the Facebook page, say for example, Tim Ferriss from the 4 Hour Workweek, he might leave a comment and share what he's been doing. Then people might reply and respond to that. Then there's the incentive to maybe write something on his wall, write something on his Facebook fan page. But if there's nothing there, and people just usually just put, like to that page, where does that, where is that interaction there? Whereas it sounds like the kind of pages that you're setting up there is that most of the time there'll be competitions and people want to interact and potentially win that competition. Is that
because you can put up you can put up the interaction, just going back on that point, then I'll come back to what you just said there. The interaction is a very, very good point that you've mentioned. I'll give you one example. The way that people have connected on our site, one of the person that won our Paris trip had met a person. She was from Birmingham in the UK, and she had met on the site while competing against each other a girl a friend of hers in Finland, Sweden or Finland, one of those places, and no, Amsterdam. It was Amsterdam. Yeah, it was in Amsterdam, and they became very good friends, competing against each other. When one of them won, obviously the prize was for two people to go to Paris. She invited her friend from Amsterdam. And so you had these two people that had never met, that had been competing against each other. They met on our site. We flew one of them from Amsterdam, one of them from Birmingham. They met in Paris, and they had a fantastic time in Paris and have become very, very good friends. And so that interaction has that competition brought those two people together as a connection. And what you've just said is for individual pages like yours is absolutely correct. Why would I go and like someone's page? What I'm saying is, yeah, I like Tyrone. He's a good guy. I'll like his page.
And besides that, what else happens? That's what I'm scratching my head still, figuring out why there's people have 10 to 15,000 to 20, 60,000 to over 100,000 fans on their page. I'm like scratching my head. Okay, why has it become so popular? But what happens there?
It's like what happens next, and how do you use that? Because you just like Twitter, you might say, hey guys, I've got a new product launch, go and visit this page. And so you're hoping that 100,000 people are then going to go and visit your page. Whereas wouldn't it be easier to go, hey, listen, I've got a new product launch and I'm having a competition for, in the next week, the person who refers the most people to my page with this particular link gets a free preview of it and all the VIP stuff that's added to it. You're more likely, as much as that's a little bit of work, I personally, in my experience from the site, I think you're more likely to have people start a conversation at least,
or do something.
Because they're going to go onto Twitter and they're going to go, hey, Tyrone has got, I follow Tyrone Outsourcing, and he's got a new product launch. Can you go and have a look at it on this link? Right? If they click join Koini Club, go in, he gets a point. But now you've got somebody else who has actually clicked a link, who is interested in outsourcing. Otherwise, they wouldn't have clicked the link, right?
Yeah.
So they come to you, and you're now, what you've done is you've created, from giving away some of your products, you're creating that. It may not be the element, but it may be one element to a launch that you're doing of a new product, for example. And now, because if they're now on your page, for example, if they've liked your page on ours, every time there's a comment on there, it will appear in their timeline. So from you as the page owner, if you are, you're now saying, hey, I've got another competition, and for this week it's for XYZ, that appears in their time. Everybody who's liked that page, it would appear in their timeline. And so you have the opportunity to be able to interact a little bit, a little bit more, I think, than just kind of
liking a page. It's.
I'm not knocking Facebook. They've got 600 million members, so they're doing something right.
I know. It just kind of raises that question. I'm going, okay, why? What's the reason for people doing it? Because it's very easy to just go onto the page and click like, and that's it. Nothing happens from there unless there is an incentive. And I'm starting to see on Facebook where people, if they click on it, like just how they subscribe to a newsletter, that they'll get a free ebook, or that they'll get something that is an incentive. And once they've liked that page, then they've got potential access to the back end. And I mean, people can turn the pages into maybe a special a Facebook members only chat session where they can find out more great tips and getting interacting with other members and stuff like that. Maybe that's an incentive. I don't know. It's just so many different ways and angles you can look at it. But yours is pretty clear cut for competitions. You know, people.
Yeah, and I think from our experience on there, we want the businesses and the brands and the people that would set up pages on our site, I think, are more interested in stirring up the conversation around whatever they're doing. And by putting competitions together, that gives something for people to talk about, because it's quite difficult for I think, if you're liking a page, to your interaction with is essentially with the person who owns the page, not necessarily with the people that are also liking it. Whereas on our site, there is more of a there's more of an interaction between people, between the people, not just the page owner, but the people who are competing or are talking. So I think that just adds a little bit of an extra element.
Definitely. Can I ask you also, David, how did the name Koini came up?
Well, it's actually the word Koinians is it's a Greek word for community. And that was shortened, and a very nice twist of fate. Apparently, Koini means falling in love in Japanese. So it's and that was a complete accident, but apparently that's what it means, or close to that, or something in that particular sentence. But the word Koini is a shortened version of the Greek word for community.
Wow, okay, that's interesting. And also too, what are your future plans for, say, this particular, how should we call it, social networking site, or is it community site? I don't know, or competition site?
We call it a competition site with a social network on the back end, because we like to think. Well, the future is, I mean, the interesting things that we've got coming up are the ticketing system. We've just built and finished a feature which is the group video feature. We call it the Get Together, and what we're doing is we're concentrating on developing applications for the pages. For example, one of the questions that you haven't answered yet, but people often ask is, well, what's to stop Joe Bloggs down the street setting up a competition that's just a scammy competition, and they never do anything. Yeah. And that's something we spent a long time talking about. And so when you actually set up a page, anybody can set up a page, but they get a randomly generated URL. Okay. If they wanted a custom URL, and that randomly generated URL won't allow them to set up competitions. The only way you can have competitions is by having a custom URL. So, for example, yours is koiniclub.com/Tyrone Shum. Okay. Because that's how I set it up. But you have to request that. So you would have to request the URL, give us an email address, and we might get in contact with you. If you're trying to get Coca-Cola and your email comes from Hotmail, it's unlikely that you're going to get Coca-Cola. But if it comes from Mr. Bob at Coca-Cola.com, the chances are you'll get that. So that allows us then to have some interaction before anybody puts a competition together. And then when they submit a competition, that also comes to us for approval. So we have a look at everything they've done, the terms, and it's not just a verification thing, but it's also to help people make sure they've put together the best competition they can, and presented it in the best way. And so that comes to us for approval. And this is another thing from your point of view. I mean, if we end up having 1,000 competitions started a day, then we'll need to outsource that to people who are dealing with that sort of stuff.
Definitely.
And so that's there. But one of the things that we're concentrating on now is developing further applications for those pages. So, for example, just what you talked about was an interesting one, because it's just given me an idea. We have groups on the site, which is where you can form a group, and within that group there is group video chat, discussions, or whatever. So you can do that. But groups on somebody's pages might be quite interesting. So that would be an application that you could have, that you could install. We're even talking about similar to a daily deals situation, but it wouldn't be daily deals that we decide. It would be something that a company decides. So, Groupon says, "Oh, you've got to give 100% discount and give us 50 quid for the privilege of giving your stuff away," and what and then 2,000 people buy it and you don't make any money out of it. And it's, to me, I don't think that's particularly great for a lot of smaller businesses. It may be a great model for some kinds of businesses, but not for every business. So we're looking to create a system on there which they can put in what discount they want to do, what period that's going to be over, how much they can sell it for, and put the referral system within that. So it's something that we essentially don't have anything to do with other than verifying or approving each deal. And we don't do it. We wouldn't be doing it based on, is this enough of a discount? It would be, if the business is a proper business and they've done everything correctly and we verified them, then sure, the deal go ahead. If they want to do a 5% discount instead of a 90% discount, it's completely up to them. If they want to sell 5 at a 99% discount and create a buzz that way, it's completely up to them. Yeah. And so that's one of the things that we're doing, and we're looking at further applications for each page to try and make it easier for businesses, local businesses, really, I suppose, to as much as this appeals to brands and larger businesses, it's a tool that local businesses can use, and we're looking to build on applications that help them in their social marketing rather than just having one option.
Which is what I wanted to actually ask you next, was how can small businesses benefit from this? Because not only are, say, marketers like ourselves on blogs and stuff like that are interested in this, but also too, small businesses would like to jump on board and try to take some, I guess, get some traffic and also potentially a different audience at a different angle to get to their business. Because we were talking about this before the podcast, was, say, for example, if you're a coffee cafe owner, how can that be beneficial? And I might ask you to actually share how something like that could be beneficial for them.
I'll give you an example we're working on right now. There's a coffee business up in Brisbane that I was speaking to before I left, and I'm still speaking to now. And it's a superb business, and they're looking to create a little bit more of a buzz. They have access to a lot of the university students up in Brisbane area. A lot of their customers are university students, but they wanted to engage them a bit more because, obviously, as you know, I'm sure it's the same down in Sydney. It's the same in London. It's the same here. There's a lot of competition between the various different coffee houses.
Yep.
And so we're working with this business, and it's a kind of a pilot to allow smaller businesses to leverage the competitions that we're doing. A small coffee shop in Brisbane or Sydney or whatever is not going to go out and spend the kind of money we spent to put the MTV competition together.
Of course not. Yeah.
No, but they can leverage off that. Yeah. Meaning, on the site we have our internal currency called credits, and a page owner can buy those credits off us and offer them to people, members, for doing a certain task. That might be referring or putting a video together. That could be, you might get 10 credits or 100 credits for a video, or it might be 2,000 credits for the best video. So they can create competitions without actually giving away any of their own products, but just giving away our credits, because our credits will buy tickets to allow you to win something like the MTV competitions. So, but if you take that to another extension, the small coffee house in Brisbane could turn around and say, hey, and advertise, join our Koini page to have a chance of winning MTV tickets or a VIP MTV ticket, a VIP,
would not be interested.
Trip. Yeah, and so it's interesting for them to be able to leverage that and to be able to use that as offline marketing as well as online marketing. And we're exploring ways of if they buy a coffee in a coffee shop, for example, they could get credits, and this would be through mobile. They could get credits on our system, and so incentivizing people like that. So if you knew that buying your coffee from Starbucks would just get you a coffee, or buying your coffee from XYZ coffee shop might get you a chance to win MTV tickets,
Which is
then you
basically
might
through like credits, and it's sort of like a point system. It's like flybys in Australia,
correct.
where you go shopping at Coles. Every time you shop, for every dollar you spend, you'll get a point, and that point goes towards you accumulating up to a free flight. Even though I know that that takes a long time, it's a good incentive still, and it seems like it's very
Well,
similar
yeah,
to
and
that.
the thing is that that's the problem, is that you spend £50,000 and you can buy a toaster or something
Yeah,
with your
it's
flybys.
ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, or you fly for 25 years with British Airways, and you might be able to take the bus to Heathrow Airport or something. But with ours, for an entry, it's 10 credits. If you were to buy those 10 credits, that would be 10 cents. So that a coffee, having a coffee, you might give away 20 cents. So that's two tickets. So as much as those 2 tickets are a small chance of winning, it's not like 14 million to 1 odds of winning the lottery, for example. In our competitions, we typically have 30 to 40,000 people joining.
And a lot of people don't do the numbers on this, trust me. People just go, okay, you get points, go into a competition, I'll just jump in. And that's the whole concept behind it. People don't sit down and start tallying up, how many points do I need to get this? And then how many points do I need to get that? So it's all very much a wanting to enter a competition and get involved, and which is the social interactivity that you've got there.
That's great.
Well, David, I really appreciate your time to be able to share your beautiful system here. It's been amazing to learn so much about it. How can people find out more about it and get involved in, if they want to try and win this competition to go to Belfast, just like I would be wanting to too?
Well, we're launching in the address is www.koiniclub.com, which is KOINI club.com, and we have the site there at the moment, but we will be launching the brand new one, which is completely different and updated, and it will be depending on when you get your podcast out, I'm trying to think of the date now. It will probably be around about the 24th, 25th, something like that, maybe beforehand, that we'll have it launched after the live testing. And we are, as much as we haven't done much advertising previously, we are going to be making a big deal of this launch and doing press releases, and we've taken on a PR firm and all that sort of stuff. So we're going to be making a big deal of it. So I'm sure you'll see a link on Twitter or Facebook or somewhere very soon after the 25th. And if you click on that, then you can go through to the site and check it out.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I'll keep that in mind and definitely let people know on the site. And yeah, we'll put David's details down below if you want to contact him as well, or actually check out his site. In actual fact, how can people contact you directly if they want to ask you more questions, by the way?
Well, you can catch me at dbw@koiniclub.com.
Yep.
And fire away. I mean, I also do our blog, which is blog.koiniclub.com. I haven't done anything on it for a while because I've been going crazy trying to get everything sorted. But we allow comments on there, and I'll be we're quite open about what we're doing, and it's really interesting. I'd be really interested to get people's feedback. I think that's one of the things that you've talked about, and Yarrow and all the guys that are in your space talk about, is that it's interesting to get feedback. And certainly on our site, we're very, very interested in feedback. So I'm more than interested to hear from anybody and take their thoughts and ideas, and I'll be quite happy to take those ideas and put them on the site.
Awesome. Well, that sounds awesome then. Well, David, thank you so much for sharing and spending your time today on this amazing podcast. And I really can't wait to check it out myself. And for anyone out there, make sure you just go and visit his site as well if you're interested in becoming part of the competition and potentially your chance to win some of those things. So thank you again, David.
You're very welcome. It's great to speak to you again, Tyron.
Likewise. It's time for the Outsourcing Live Quick Tip. A tool that I've been recommended by my friend David Bradley Ward is a tool called Prezi, which is spelled Prezi. And you can get access to this free tool at www.prezi, which is prezi.com. Now, what this tool does is that it allows you to create some really, really innovative and very eye-catching type of presentations. Gone are the days now where you just click on a button and the slideshow just flips across to the left and then just rotates and turns and stuff like that. What happens here is that If you've seen some of the presentations online nowadays, it allows you to actually zoom into some of the presentations and also zoom out from them, move around, be a lot more interactive, and really give you that kind of cutting edge so that when people are watching your presentations, they're really, really captivated by them and engaged. And if you go to that site, which I'm at right now, I'll just click on Explore, and it'll tell you a little bit more about it as well. And also click on Learn too, and it'll give you a little bit more of an overview and rundown of what other features there are. But besides just the move, scale, rotate, zooming, moving around inside the presentations, you'll be able to also export this presentation to your computer so that way you can play it anywhere you want. But it's great because it's online, so you don't have to worry about setting up and installing any software. And also too, if you go to Prezi, it tells you a little bit more of the specs as well. You're able to at least store 100 megabytes online, so that's pretty good for a free account. And also too, you can upgrade any time to a premium account at your own use. So you should just check it out at Prezi, which is prezi.com, and you'll be able to find out how this software or this particular online tool can create really, really amazing presentations for you.
Now, if you like more resources like this one, you can find them inside Mass Outsourced Mastermind, along with video tutorials and step-by-step instructions showing exactly how I use them. To get a 30-day, no-risk trial membership to Mass Outsourced Mastermind, simply visit freevideoset.com. Until next time, I wish you success in your quest for outsourcing.